Hey guys! So in this video I'm going to talk to you about Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children, which is a trilogy by Ransom Riggs. So this trilogy is probably the most unique in young adult fiction. I really, really love it. It's very clever, and the narration throughout all three books is just fantastic. It's narrated by a 16-year-old. It's in first person narration, I believe. And this character just stays consistent through all three novels. And it's great because this takes place in this fantastic, crazy world. And this character is still very, very relatable. So I just love this series. So you could just stop this right now and just read it. It's an amazing series. But don't do that. So here is, I'm just going to read the synopsis of the first book. A mysterious island, an abandoned orphanage, a strange collection of very peculiar photographs. It all waits to be discovered in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, an unforgettable novel that mixes fiction and photography in a thrilling reading experience. As our story opens, a horrific family tragedy sets 16-year-old Jacob journeying to a remote island off the coast of Wales, where he discovers the crumbling ruins of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. As Jacob explores its abandoned bedrooms and hallways, it becomes clear that Miss Peregrine's children were more than just peculiar. They may have been dangerous. They may have been quarantined on a deserted island for good reason. And somehow, impossible though it seems, they may still be alive. So, that's what the first one is about. And one thing that I love about this series, in addition to just how amazing of a story it is that throughout all three novels, there are these really old, sort of eerie photographs. They're just dispersed throughout the novel. So there's ones like that, which you can't really see, sorry. And then even just the cover. See, she's floating. And then, let me see if I can find a particularly spooky looking one. Because that's the thing about the first novel. It's very eerie, and that's what sets it apart, I think, is because it's just eerie, and there's so much that's unknown, and it makes it spooky. I think maybe probably the creepiest photo, though, is this one that's on the back cover. I don't actually know if it's in this particular novel. I don't remember, but there it is. It's kind of just, they're just creepy. And these pictures are characters in the story, and they all have to do with whatever is happening in the story, and I think it's really, really great. So this one, the first one, is just very spooky and suspenseful. So this one, I think, sets the series off to a great start, and it's a fantastic novel all on its own. Then we go into the second book, which is called Hollow City. So Hollow City is not as great as the first one. That's not to say that this isn't a great book, because it is. I really like it. It's just not as great as the first one. This one sort of goes away from the eerie spookiness and just kind of becomes a little more on the ridiculous, whimsical side. And on one hand, while it, makes it not as fantastic as the first one, it completely makes sense that there are characters in this novel that are just very goofy and ridiculous. There's a talking dog in this one. Things happen very, very quickly. There's a lot of characters that come in and then they leave, and then you have new ones that are and it's very, very fast, and it's very, very fast paced, and I feel like it doesn't delve into as much as it could have, but it also has some very, very important parts in the story that, just had to happen. It sets up really, really well for everything that happens in the third book. The reason why I said that it's totally makes sense for this to be very whimsical and just ridiculous is because of the universe it's set in. All of these people that are in this world of peculiars, they just have these abilities and powers, or whatever you want to call them, and basically anything goes. There's so much that is possible in this world that it makes sense that it's just crazy. This novel is just all over the place. And it's all over the place in a very purposeful way. I feel like he did that because it allowed for the best progression of the story that he wanted to tell. Like I said, he doesn't delve into all of the different nooks and crannies of the peculiar universe. And while I personally would have loved that because I am the kind of reader that just wants to know everything about the world that I'm reading about, it's not necessary to tell the story of Jacob and his band of peculiars and what they go through. It's the perfect way to lead into the third book, which is called Library of Souls. Okay, so the third one, Library of Souls. I feel like this one is probably my favorite of the three because it does delve into a different side of the peculiar world that you don't really see. This third one delves into the darker, sort of horrific side of the peculiar universe. This book is very, very intense, and it adds so much to the story. And I feel like it's the perfect way to end this trilogy. Because if anything else had been done, if it had been less intense, then it just wouldn't have felt as genuine. And it ended the way I feel like it needed to end. I personally loved the last chapter, the actual conclusion of the novel, because it left an open end so that you do have that possibility of, more happening. Even though I personally don't want any more to be written about this particular band of peculiars, I would love to see more about the universe that it's set in. But yeah, I love the way it ended. The story as a whole, it's just a very good novel. I say the word very a lot and need a better word, but it's great. It starts out really eerie and mysterious, and then it expands upon this world, and you get to see that it can be kind of ridiculous, but it still has that air of mystery about it because there is so much that can happen, and it's such an anything goes kind of place. And then it moves into this dark, terrifying side of this world, and you get to see literally night and day, and it's just great, and it's very well written. And the plot, the plot in Hollow City isn't as, I feel, structured as I would have liked. It's a lot more loose than the first two, but even so, it all blends fairly well. I'm sure there are problems somewhere, but none so noticeable that it takes away from the story. Oh, one thing that I do absolutely adore about this series is the romance that's in it is very real. It's in so many young adult novels that can still be good novels. I'm not saying that, this completely makes a novel terrible, but in so many young adult novels, the romances that are in there are purely just for shock value, and they're all very quick, whirlwind, physical things. It's not as substantial as it could be. And what I love about this one is that it is very substantial. The relationship between Jacob and Emma is built on actual mutual trust and understanding and respect, and it seems like they actually like being around each other. It was so refreshing to have this build up to something genuine, and it was great, and I loved it so much. So good job, Ransom Riggs, in writing probably one of the better young adult romances. So good for you. So yeah, it's just great writing, great characters. I love every single character in this series. Good, bad, in between, I don't care. They're all great. So definitely, I think if you haven't read them, pick them up. I did recently hear a couple weeks ago that there is going to be a movie about this. I have yet to watch the trailer. I have seen stills and I'm kind of conflicted. The movie's being done by Tim Burton, so on one hand, I'm excited for it because I really like Tim Burton, but on the other, just from what I've seen of the stills, I don't know how I feel about it. I might do a trailer reaction video, just because I haven't seen it yet. We'll see. But yeah, so that about wraps it up for this video. Please go check out these books because they are fantastic. As always, links to everything will be in the description, so all of my social media, all of the ways to find the author. So I will see you guys next time. Maybe it'll be another book review, maybe it'll be a trailer reaction. I don't know yet. We will see what happens. And hopefully it will be sooner than 3 months, because it's been 3 months since I last posted a video, so. Okay. Bye!